Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we're back with another slime video, and we got Mjurran. If you didn't watch the video, you should probably go watch that and, yell at me for being an idiot. But hey, I got Mjurran, so we're winning. Honestly, I don't really know what to think of her. I've only used her really once, so we've got to use her, on her team with Traya and Shuna, and then we're going to try and take her and see if she can lead some other teams and see if she has value outside of this specific meta. I'm sure I think she'll have more usage than I would think like Space Romerus does, because no one ever talks about her anymore. Because follow-up damage is interesting. It's kind of like just burn, in a way. Additional damage at the end of the turn, essentially. We'll see how it goes, though. So, she leads Goddess of Darkness, extra damage against Dark. Good. Fine. Wholehearted Devotion and Goddess of Destiny. Wholehearted Devotion does not have a lot of units on it. Goddess of Destiny did get, 5 units added to it. Some of them are iffy, but a few of them are good. And then her actual skill makes every orb in your hand, every orb, not just greens and oranges like I had originally translated from the live stream, but any orb, normal orb, does 50% extra damage follow-up attack, and then an alt does 20% of the damage that it did, which is unfortunate, but, alts can be pretty powerful, so I get it. And then gives all magic allies guaranteed crits, so good. So she's got the Fray passive right there for magic. And then increases the skill point gain of all orbs by 100%, which is pretty good. And all of this lasts for 2 turns, so multi-turn buff right there. Valor trait is the same shenanigans one they've had for the past, 5-6 months or so. And then her actual trait, if you had dupes in her, she gives extra attack when you're above 75% HP across the board, up to 6%, which is good for a burst team because you really don't want to be in an event longer than that to drop underneath 75, but you will, and then you're just going to lose it. So I prefer these traits to be when you're underneath a certain HP percentage, because that means you can plan for the worst when one unit gets targeted and all of a sudden, okay, well, they're underneath 50 or whatever. So let's try her out on her own meta team in the Beatdown battle, see how well she does, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, we have much science to do with Mjurran, so we're going to see how she works with Rewind, how she works with other damage buffs, what does affect the follow-up damage, as a whole between your power-ups versus their defensive buffs and all that. So this could probably be a longer video because I want to give her a thorough test because I wasn't initially impressed by her. So I want to make sure that, when I'm doing this showcase, I'm trying to make her look her best and not just shit all over her. And if she ends up being really good, well then I guess she ends up being really good. But, we gotta use her first. So, Beatdown battle, this is EX3, so, this is where the dupes for Traya end. So turn 1 is built for the orb change that we actually get with Traya, but we brought Milim instead because we also have the alt buff. So let's bring in Shuna. We have the hero here for the rewind, so we'll try and take advantage of that. And I assume in an ideal scenario, you would be sending like 6 orbs, which will then trigger 6 follow-ups, right? And then the rewind kicks in, and then if you get really lucky, you could send another 6 orbs with another 6 follow-ups. So that's 24 attacks in 1 turn, potentially. Sounds really nice, right? So let's do this. Let's do the green buff. Yeah. And then we will get Milim out of here. For the hero, we'll use the rewind. So we'll see if we can actually get that going, because we still have Traya in the back to steal orbs and convert. We could still use Shuna's steal to give us extra orbs as well. So we'll see how this goes and how much damage we actually end up doing here. So here is the animation. Just waiting at the altar for Yom to, buck up. And so she can fly them away with her wings on the ring. I don't know. Sure, whatever. But this will trigger the follow-up, so now they have this nice fancy yellow aura. If we click and hold onto it, we get Generate Light Attribute Seeking Soul. Deals 50% of damage for 2 turns. So every time you send a orb, it could be 1 orb, it could be 6, you will send another yellow light attribute orb that does 50% of the damage of whatever your green orb did. So, there we go. So we have 6 orbs here, 6 orbs down there. We're doing 15k a hit, and then the follow-up does 32. So we're going to be doing about 7.5. Yeah, 7.9, 16.2 right there. Alright, cool. So it does take into account the... Okay, well that's unfortunate. Well, it looks like we're going to be sending about 5 orbs. Yeah. Okay, because Isis has those 2. Well, no. Hero has the... No. Okay, well, I think we got a little cuck there, unfortunately. Let's do this. So, as you can see, you can swap characters out, and because it's affecting the orb itself, it doesn't matter who comes in. Whatever orb happens to be there is going to be the orb that gets the extra damage buff. So you could, use the turn 1, send some orbs, and then when you have enough for like super power-ups for the entire team, you could bring Traya in, who gets that extra damage buff, bring her in, and all of a sudden her orb's going to do a lot more damage after, on this turn. So right here, I think we're going to just steal and use the green buff. I don't think there's anything else we can really do here, so... Yeah, so we sent 12 orbs the first time. We're going to send 5 orbs now, which is technically 10 orbs. So we sent, 22 orbs? 22 orbs out of 24 total possible? Seems pretty good. And because, this doesn't really do anything using her again, it doesn't... I mean, it'll extend the amount of time we get this by another turn, but it's kind of a waste, so there's no point in using it again, so you can hold it and just do this. We'll still have the crit, we'll still have the follow-up. Next turn, we can just use it again and then have another 2 turns of it. So there we go, 8,400 on nerfed orbs, 30k right there, now that we've got the buff going, 47, 42, 42, 42, 15, 23. Alright, there's a bind that misses Traya, and then, we still have it going, right? Because that was a rewind, right? So that was 22 orbs in 1 turn. And that was a significant amount of damage. Very significant amount. And now we have an ult. Now we have 2 ults, technically. And if we had been luckier with the rewind hand, we could have probably had an EX ult, of which we would still have the light and crit buff from Shuna, because that also lasts for 2 turns. We would still have all this follow-up, so even if we didn't kill with this Shuna ult right here, which we're going to, let's go ahead and buff it up anyways, for funsies onesies, right? So let's go the ult buff, there we go. And then this is going to do however much, 238,000 damage, and then you would have had a follow-up orb doing another 20% of that. So, I mean, that's a lot of damage in 2 turns. Like, Frey can definitely help you with that kind of damage output with, Fount of Wisdom, or not, Fantasy Milim, right? She can definitely do a lot of damage. She also has that conversion, right, which helps you eliminate Orb RNG, which if we had that for, the rewind turn, we would have been okay. But I cannot deny the massive amount of DPS that you can make your team do, even if it's only 50% or 20% of the orb damage. Okay, let's come back. So we saw what happens on the rewind. It does affect the orb still. Let's come back with the second version of the hero for an extra orb damage and see how that goes. Alright, we're back. Same team, we've just swapped the heroes, right? So the same strategy will work, except now instead of having the rewind to send 24 orbs in a turn, we're going to have the orb damage buff from the hero and the resistance down on Grucius, so he's going to take even more damage from light, and, well, anybody really, but even more damage. So let's see how high our total DPS stacks up after this starts going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cool. I guess, like, you could, instead of putting your protection characters on the support slots, you could put, like, 2 of the skill point ones, so you could use the Isis buff. Okay, well, that's an unfortunate hand right there. But we can get out of it, because even if we can't orb RNG change it, we can just steal these, right? And let's go ahead and just use the green buff, which will help, but also not help us at the same time. So maybe it would have been better just to not do anything. But let's go ahead and send this and the follow-up attacks, and then we'll have this turn of comparing the damage just with the light and crit damage buff, and then next turn we'll add in the hero buff as well, and then see how much higher that goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't really matter because all the orbs are getting it anyways. Alright, so that almost gets us in the X-Alt. So 30k a hit, so our follow-up's going to do 15 minimum, and then he guarded the last hit, which is unfortunate. So guard, you can guard. Holy, he's almost dead. Oh. He's not going to live. Alright, well, I mean, we ah, right. Oh, we've been binded. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Let's, ooh. Let's do this. And then pop. Alright. Let's get... let's do this. And then next turn... Actually, I should have sent that. I should have sent a few more orbs, actually. Alright, fine. Misplaying a little bit here. There. Please don't kill him. I just want to see how much one orb does with her with the additional thing. So we did 30k, right? And now we're going to do the light damage buff again. And we have another Mjurran to use, so that's the crit. So we can activate the crit damage. I need to turn that setting off. Settings and on. Alright. And then we'll bring in the Hero 2.0, and we'll use her debuff and orb damage buff. And then we'll see, going from 30k to 48k, so another 18,000 damage. So the follow-up attack right there would have been 24,000? 24,000 on a 50% follow-up attack? That seems pretty good. Alright, I mean, this is EX3, right? This is the last of the dupe stages. Then we go on to Inferno. So, I mean, I am impressed. Let's test her out on some not meta teams in some other stages. She's not really orb restricted either, right? She buffs any orb, so we can use her pretty much anywhere. So let's try it. Alright, here's a good science experiment. Can we combine the follow-up damage of burn with the follow-up damage of the orbs? Alright, this should be entertaining. Can we do essentially triple the damage of one turn? We're gonna find out nice, quick, and in a hurry now, aren't we? We're gonna go into EX5 of the Fire-Tempered Edge stage. Clayman is, a pretty tanky boy. He's got 682,000 HP. I feel like that's not enough. Hold on. Are we actually in? I don't think we're actually in it. Hold on. No, we are. Okay, that's EX5. Okay, yeah, let's try it out. I gotta remember, you can't bring in Violet turn 1 though, because they get crit sealed. So we have to bring in Benimaru for the orb change. So we'll do this for Shizu, I guess, because she's the weakest unit. Yeah, alright, so let's do that. Use the orb change. This will put a stack of burn on. This will also get us, a stack of Mjurran. No, can't do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. 46, 43, so I should have sent Benimaru last. Oh well. You learned some. Guard. Alright, so there's 4,600 damage worth of burn. Alright. Oh, right, we don't have any real orb changers now. That's the thing. We'd have to modify this team, I think. So, you know what, let's come back once I change the team up, because I'm running it as if I had Toa. Okay, so we've made a few changes. We swapped Hero and Guy out for Isis and Traya. Traya, she's a fire unit, so I mean, she'll work here. She's not a physical character, but, beggars can't be choosers, but she will definitely help us orb change. Isis will help us orb change and buff the green so we can continue using Toa, I think is the most important thing. So let's get Benimaru in for Triya so we can keep her in the back for that good orb changing. So we'll do this. We'll lose a bit of, burn damage overall because we don't have as many fire units, but I think this will help us run a little bit more efficiently. So 4,500 damage there, because we were doing 46 with Benimaru last time before we make the cut. And, oh, hold on. I mean, that can work. So Benimaru comes out, and then we will steal special orb change, right? Okay, so she's not giving any extra gauge to anybody, but then let's do this, and then let's, I think, buff the greens. I think that's the smartest thing to do right here. So we'll have one extra stack of burn. We're going to have this going. Oh. So this is, right, she's giving magic allies crits. So thankfully, Violet is self-sufficient there, but our orbs are going to do a little bit less damage compared to, well, we'll find out. Let's see. Let's see how this works. How does the burn actually calculate with the follow-up? So 17, 6,000, 6,000. So we're going to be doing 3,000 a light orb there. And then 12,7 right there. 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6. Oh, right, because those are type neutral. Those are light orbs. So it doesn't really matter. We do follow-up damage, right? And but it's light damage based on the fire damage. So it's not like it's super effective because it's now light. Okay. But then we did do burn after that. I didn't see how much we did though, so we're gonna have to check it again. So then let's use the Isis orb change. Let's use these effects right here, and then let's bring Benimaru back in for Isis, so we can get the burn damage going. And then let's use the orb change here. So that's 3 stacks of burn. We're going to have the ult. We still have the follow-up, which will be light, but it'll be based off the fire damage due. This could be interesting. Alright, so let's do that. Pop, 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 pop. Now let's check what happens. So Violet's ult does 47,000, which isn't a lot, but 10k, 6k a hit on the guard, and then 11k there, and then the follow-up for the ult, 5,000, 1,700. Okay, I mean, and then 63k burn, so, I mean, it counted for the first wave of attacks because they were fire. But it didn't count any of the follow-up because it's technically light, so technically, I get, yeah, they do stack together, but they also don't stack the way you would want it to because they're light orbs. Okay. I mean, I think we're still doing good damage for EX5, so, I mean, that's saying something. Let's use her again, I guess. We don't have really any orbs for Violet, but we'll have a whole bunch of blues that we can get her back again, technically. So let's do this. Now I imagine if we were to use, like, the fire buff, right, on that turn, we would have been looking pretty okay. Her attack is leaving, so I kind of don't want her up here right now. Let's get Isis in here. Yeah, let's do this. And then hopefully if we get like more orbs or something, we can just do something else. So 4,300 with Shizu's attacks. And then the light follow-up and burn for 12k. Alright, the blues are nerfed now, that's unfortunate. What are we gonna do here? You come out for Shizu. Alright. And then we can... That didn't really work that well, did it? Alright, I think we're just gonna send the blues again. And we're just gonna have to deal with it. We're gonna lose the 2 stacks of burn though, which is unfortunate. Alright, and the light orbs are nerfed as well. Alright, oh, Isis is dead. That is unfortunate. Okay, well, I mean, this was, I think, some good science right here. I think she'll work a little bit better on a different team. Because I was really expecting the burn to stack, but it didn't quite stack. So, let's try a different stage now. Alright, I went back down to EX3, but I got, you know, the turn that we were looking for, right? Almost. So let's go ahead and reapply another stack of burn and the attack buff, and then the fire attack buff. So this will enhance the amount of damage that our orbs will do alongside the follow-up orbs. So we'll send Shizu first, then Trya, then Violet, then Trya, and Violet again. And we'll see how much actual damage we do with 2 stacks, plus the follow-up. So Shizu, 17-3, alright, not too much. Trya does 18-2, and then 82-2 right there, 3,000, and Violet's final attack does 27,000, 1,200, 900, 6,500, 5,000, 65,000 damage on the burn. I mean, it works. It's serviceable. Maybe it's not the best thing in the world, but it definitely can do additional damage. We're a little bit shy on points there, so we'll just do this. And okay. We've seen what we need to see for this team, so now let's move on. Alright, so Wind 2.0. Not a team I use very often normally, but, you know, it does work. It's old. It came out right after the wedding team last year. But it is a blue focus team, so we can cycle the protectors fast. We do have EX Hinata here as, DPS. She is physical instead of magic, but we'll see. And plus we have Dino. We're going to have a whole bunch of buffs. We'll see if we can make these follow-up orbs do, a decent amount of damage, especially against a boss who doesn't have, like, bunches of health. So I don't think the stage has set hands, so we'll be right back for when we get a good starting hand. Alright, finally got a good starting hand. We can use Trainee's Orb Change turn 1, get a full hand of blues. We can bring Diablo in for, I guess it doesn't matter, Dino, and then we can bring Hinata in for Geld. And this will be a good starting hand right here. And then we can use, we have 2 Mjurran stocked up, so we just need to orb change, and then we'll see, the follow-up damage. Diablo does have a lot of small point buffs. Okay, sure, that works, whatever. And using her will buff our skill point gain on all orbs, which means, this team historically struggled for points, right? That's why everything was such low cost. Gabiru, the protector, when you ran him, you used him, he gave you 15, versus the 40 that you were getting with Hakuro, so really kind of insignificant right there. But let's go ahead and use this now, and then there we go. So wind attack up, magic users, so Trainee and Diablo got automatic crits right here. So let's go ahead and use Diablo's first skill, which is a 20% attack increase. And I think we'll just do this. We'll get 46 points back, which is quite a bit for 4 orbs right there. We're going to get his ult, so that's good. And then next turn, so 9,000 damage right there, 10,000. The follow-up, 2,500. They are crits, because they're following, our hits right there, so there's that. Counterattacks do not trigger the follow-up. It's kind of obvious, but, just in case you were very confused, they don't. That's an interesting hand right there. Okay, so let's go ahead, and this is crit rate, which we already have, and defense down. Not really that important. Let's go ahead and use the wind attack buff. Well, actually, we can't have Hinata up here for that, because she's going to get that. So let's bring Dino in instead. And then we'll use the wind attack up, 15%, so that goes on Diablo. Let's use the defenses down, everything, magic attack resistance down, the crit resistance and wind resistance. We'll put that all on this Diablo, and then we'll see how much additional damage we do with our own Diablo. And it should be pretty good, right? It should be. So here's the alt. 57,000, okay. Follow-up, 6,000, 6,900. And then the actual follow-ups, so 56, 19, 19, 19, 3,000 right there. I mean, it's serviceable. I wouldn't say it's the best thing in the world, but it definitely works. Let's bring... Yeah, actually, let's do this. Let's get Dino out. We'll use his orb change. And then we'll use Hinata's orb change to get us a full hand of blues. And we'll use Mjurran again. We'll AoE with Trainee, which will trigger follow-up. And I think we'll lower the defense of Diablo to try and get him out of here this turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Diablo still has his attack buff. This should work out pretty well. So Trainee. So 11,000. A little bit more over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, will it hit multiple enemies since we hit... Oh, actually, we're not going to see that. Okay. Okay. So we'll have to test that next time. Even if we send one follow-up, does it hit everybody? Does it even say? What does this say? Causes all souls in hand to generate light-seeking souls. Alright, that doesn't really tell us anything if it hits multiple enemies, or is it just because it didn't have Diablo to hit, so it just transferred over? Let's find out. The attack buff needs to go back up. The wind attack... actually, I think it'll go on Diablo when he gets the attack buff. Yeah, okay, it does. Alright, so we'll send this, and we'll send these 3, even though they're attack nerfed, which is kind of unfortunate. So Diablo, 36,000 right there. 2,100, 2,300, then follow-ups, 37, 200. Oh god, that's terrible. Okay. Okay, I mean, it works. I don't, using her off meta, I really, really am convinced now that she is very strong. Very, very strong against dark units. When you have a light team, you're getting that extra 60% damage buff because that's already buffing your follow-up attacks damage. But outside of that, against type neutral, where your light follow-up attacks don't really matter as far as type advantage, her damage output does suffer a little bit. Actually, more than a little bit. It does suffer. So I think using her outside of the meta in future events might not be as useful as other protectors like Frey, Toa, that are really bursting down for ults. The follow-up attack is really, really good when your normal orbs are doing a shit ton of damage, like they would do on her team. Here, though, we can do, okay damage with this team. It's an older team, so, the damage is just not good to begin with. But I really, really caution people against the future-proofness of this Mjurran. Let's cut this stage. Let's go into the light 3.0 Tempered Edge against that big boy Veldora, and we'll use, the meta team again, and we'll see if we can just burst him down with normals at that point. Alright, never mind. We're taking the Space 3.0 team into the Space 2.0 Tempered Edge because... they said that the previous Beatdown battles would return, but, they haven't come back yet, so this is the best we can do. But Xion, Shinsha, they do fall underneath Mjurran's Goddess of Destiny, so they do get the extra stats. So, and these are wind units, so, we'll do decent normal damage to them, it's just that the follow-up orbs are light, so we don't actually get the extra buff. But we can still kind of take advantage of it. Let's just send this. Everyone is magic, so everyone's getting the crit, which is nice. So 33, 42, 7,300 right there. And then the follow-ups hitting... Are these going to be single, or are they going to be everyone? They are just single. Okay. But they were crits, and we did do quite a bit of damage to him in one turn, right? So it worked out. This also works out quite well. So let's do this, and let's do that. Let's do the Pierce Power, so we can get just even more damage. And we'll send this on Milim now. Or we'll send it on Valentine. She might heal it all back, but whatever. We're going to get, you know, an ult here, an ult here. Max points, another protector next turn, so this should be good. So 42, 1,200 each now, so the follow-ups will do nice 6k. Alright, we took out quite a bit of her health, and then these follow-ups will do more. 14, 14, 400, 400, 8,000, 400, 4,000. Alright, instant damage, there's a heal. Alright, and there's a big heal, so we wasted it all, essentially, on her. Oh well. It is what it is, but now that we're unbinded, we can do this. So we'll bring in Shinsha, and we'll put the alt buff on, which I haven't skill fused because obviously she's not level 100. So it's only 30% resistance down, but let's get Milim out of here. I kind of want to just make her disappear. All right, and then we'll bring in our own Milim. We'll use the Drago effect on her, so she'll get extra attack. She will also get the guaranteed crits right here. So hopefully between these two alts and her, we can take out this Milim on their side. We'll send that last, actually. Alright, so how much will this do? The follow-up, this AoE is going to hit everybody, so will this also hit everybody? Let's find out. 2,300 across the board, meh. Xion, 55, that's a little better. And then these orbs, 9,000 right there. 9,000, and this should do quite a bit. 21,000. Alright, and yep, there's the AoE. Alright, so if it is an AoE orb, or an ult, it will hit everybody again. If it's a single target, it will just hit the one person. So, I mean, that's good to know. We have another ult, so we're ready to go again. This time, let's use the space attack buff. And let's use the Charm Strike, just to make sure we do a little bit extra damage to Valentine. And yeah, we'll just send all this. Hopefully she dies and doesn't heal back all of the damage we do to her. I think oranges are nerfed right now. Okay, well, you're all dead. You're all dead. Alright, well, that worked out. Okay, so, I mean, we did learn a few other things here. The AoE ults will create an AoE follow-up. Single targets will be a single target follow-up. Does make sense. Now let's go into the Veldora stage with the new meta.